will never take an Uber alone at night again. What happened to me last Friday was not a dream, it was a living nightmare. I'm sharing this because I captured something on my phone camera that night. A photo of someone or something that was sitting right next to me in the back seat. The driver saw it too. If you are a girl traveling alone tonight, please listen to this. Look at the photo I am about to show you, and then look at your own car window's reflection. Are you really alone in that car? This is horrifying. Close your eyes, put on your headphones, and listening very carefully. I usually never travel alone at night, but that Friday was different. I was at a friend's birthday party and it got very late. It was around 1:30 a.m. when I decided to call a cab to go home. The street was empty and very cold. When the car arrived, it was a plain black sedan. The driver did not say the word, he just nodded. I sat in the back seat, looking out the window, feeling glad that I was finally on my way to my warm bed. About 5 minutes into the ride, I noticed something strange. The driver kept looking at the rearview mirror, but he wasn't looking at me. He was looking at the seat right next to me. His eyes were wide with fear, and his hands were shaking on the steering wheel. I looked next to me, but the seat was empty. I thought maybe he was just tired, but the way he was staring made me skin crawl. I felt a sudden cold breeze inside the car, even though all the windows were closed. I tried to make small talk to ease the tension. Long night? Huh, I asked. The driver did not answer. He just gripped a wheel harder. Then I felt it. A heavy weight on the seat next to me, and if someone had just sat down. I heard the leather creak. I slowly turned my head, but there was no one there. But when I looked at the car window's reflection, I saw a pale, thin woman with long black hair sitting right beside me. I gasped and jumped toward the door. I looked at the seat again, but it's empty. In reflection of the glass, she was still there. She was leaning toward me, her face inches away from mine. Her eyes were replaced by dark, empty holes, and she was wearing a tattered white dress that looked wet. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. My heart was racing so fast, I thought it would explode. The driver finally spoke, his voice trembling. Don't look at her. Whatever you do, don't look directly at the reflection. He started driving much faster, ignoring the red lights. I realized then that he could see her too. We were trapped in the moving metal box with something that wasn't alive. I kept my eyes fixed on the back on the driver's seat, trying to ignore the scratching sound coming from the seat next to me. The scratching sound became louder. It sounded like long fingernails tearing through the leather. Then I felt a cold, damp hand touch my shoulder. It felt like ice. I started to cry silently, my whole body shaking. I took out my phone to call for help, but the screen was just static. However, The camera app opened by itself. I saw a backseat through the phone screen, and that's when I chaptered the phone I am showing you now. In the photo, you can clearly see a white, blurry figure leaning over me, its long fingers wrapped around my neck. The driver saw me take a photo and whispered, "Put it away, you make her angry." Suddenly, the car's interior lights started flickering. The air became so thick and cold that I could see my own breath. The woman in the reflection started to whisper in a language I didn't understand. Her whisper sounded like dry leaves rubbing together. It was a cold, hateful sound. I felt the pressure on my neck tightening. I could not breathe. The driver was screaming now, telling the entity to leave us alone. He slammed on the brakes, and the car skid across the road. We stopped right in front of an old cemetery. The silence that followed was even more terrifying than the noise. The weight on the seat suddenly disappeared. The car became warm again. I looked at the window reflection. The woman is gone. The driver was leaning over the steering wheel, sobbing. He told me that this happens every Friday night on this specific road. He said he was forced to pick up passengers that no one else could see. He told me to get out and run and never look back at his car. I didn't ask any questions. I opened the door and ran as fast as I could toward the nearest gas station. I did not stop until I saw people bright lights. When I finally got home, I checked my neck in the mirror. There were faint blue bruise marks in the shape of long, thin fingers I couldn't see for a week. Every time I closed my eyes, I felt that close hand on my shoulder. I tried to find a driver or a car again, but the app said the rider was cancelled and there was no record of the driver's name or vehicle. It was like a car never existed, but I have a photo. Every time I look at it, the figure seems to be moving closer to the center of the frame. I feel like she didn't stay at the cemetery. I feel like she followed me home through the phone. Now, I never use ride-sharing apps after midnight. I never look at my reflection in the car windows. Sometimes, when I'm sitting in the room, I feel that same cold breeze. I hear the sound of wet footsteps on my carpet. I know she's waiting for another ride. She's waiting for me to be alone in the dark again. Monsters don't just stay on the road, they follow the fear. I shared this story because I want all the girls out there to be careful. Trust your instincts. If a car feels cold or if the driver looks terrified, get out immediately. Don't worry about being polite. Your life is more important. There are things traveling on our streets that don't belong to this world. They are looking for a way in, and they use our fear as a doorway. Look closely at the leaked image in this video. Look at the fingers. Does that look like a human hand to you? I still have those marks on my neck, and sometimes they start to itch when the sun goes down. I don't think I will ever be truly safe again. Horrorwink is not just a channel. It's a place where we share a truth that the world wants to hide. Thank you for listening to my story. Tonight, if you are traveling late, keep the lights on. Don't look at the empty seats next to you. And whatever you do, don't look at reflection in the window. You might see someone sitting there with you, waiting for the ride to end. Stay safe, keep your eyes open, and never travel alone in the dark. Good night and see you again.